Mathematics at Init College, a YouTube channel for high school mathematics education. Mathematics 1C and Mathematics 3C. Swedish High School Education System. Functions. Hi, this is Babak. In this video I am going to solve the following problem for you. Let me read the problem for you first. Let f be a function such that for every real number x, we have 2 times f of x plus 5 times f of minus x equals to 1 minus 2x. Determine f of 0, f of 1, and the rule of this function. This is a good idea if you pause the video at this point and try to solve the problem yourself first. If you do everything correctly, the answers that you will get are f of 0 equals to 1 over 7, f of 1 equals to 17 over 21, and finally the rule of the function f of x equals to 2/3 x plus 1 over 7. Okay, now let me solve the problem. We want to answer this. Of course, you can answer the first part and the second part by just doing the last part. Because if you can find the last part, it is clear that you can calculate f of 0. If you plug 0 here, it's clear that you get 1 over 7. And if I plug 1 here, it becomes 2/3 plus 1 over 7. And if you calculate that, it becomes indeed 17 over 21. The reason that I have designed the question in this way, because I want you to understand what is going on, make you little by little prepared to reach to the hardest part. For f of 0, you really don't need to calculate the f of x in its entirety first. Because it is mentioned in the problem that this relation is valid for all possible choices of x as a real number, this means that this equation is also valid if I choose x equal to 0. What motivates me to choose x equal to 0? It's clear, because in the first part I am supposed to calculate f of 0. So I would say that this equation is given to me 2 times f of x plus 5 times f of minus x is equal to 1 minus 2x for all possible choices of x, including if I choose x equal to 0. So if I put x equal to 0 in this equation, what I get is 2 times f of 0 plus 5 times f of minus 0 equals to 1 minus 2 times 0. But this becomes 2f of 0 minus 0, and 0 doesn't have any differences. So this becomes 5 of 0 again. 5 of f of 0 again, and the right hand side 1 minus 2 times 0 is simply 1. But you see that this is somehow a coincidence that I have the same unknown here and there. So I have 2f of 0, I have 5 more f of 0s, so I add them, it becomes 7f of 0. And 7 times this unknown number is 1. Then it becomes clear that f of 0 is 1 over 7. So you see, without knowing actually the function itself, in this case I was able to answer f of 0 very clearly and very simply. Now I want to do the same idea for f of 1, but there would be a little problem here. I will again, by the experience that you have gained so far, you would say that 2f of x plus 5f of minus x is equal to 1 minus 2x. You would say that my goal is to know something about f of 1, so clearly it motivates me to replace x with 1 this time. But let us see how it goes. Then the first one becomes 2f of 1, and the second one becomes 5f of minus 1. On the right hand side I will have 1 minus 2 times 1. Yes? So if I want to write it, it becomes 2f of 1 plus 5f of minus 1 equals to minus 1. Yes? This becomes minus 1. But that is a little bit unfortunate here, because now you see that I have two different unknowns. There is no guarantee that this time f of minus 1 is equal to f of 1. So I cannot simplify this expression as I did in the previous case. In the previous case, I had 2f of 0 plus 5 of the same unknown f of 0. So I was able to write 7f of 0. But here I have two different unknowns. So we get stuck a little bit here. So how should I circumvent this problem? Okay, it's not that hard to see that when you tell me that this is valid for all possible choices of x, this means that this is also true if I replace x with minus 1 this time, yes? So let me, it doesn't work in this way, so let me just like it like that. So let me choose x equal to minus 1 this time and rewrite this expression. So what will happen? The first one becomes 2f of minus 1. The second one becomes 5f minus, but I have chosen x to be minus 1. On the right hand side it becomes 1 minus 2 times minus 1. Let me simplify this a little bit. So it becomes 2f of minus 1 plus 5f of minus 1. But minus 1 is the another name for 1. And then here 2 times minus 1 is minus 2, so it becomes 2 times minus 1 is minus 2, and there is another minus sign here. It becomes 1 plus 2, it becomes 3, yes? So this becomes 3. So then I would write this equation here. So it becomes 2f of minus 1 plus 5f of 1 is equal to 3. Now, I hope that you understand what's going on. If I ask you how many unknowns are involved here, you would say 2, because you don't know what this is. You don't know what this is. But they are the same unknowns repeating themselves here again. So it means that I have a system of two equations. This is one equation. This is the second equation in two unknowns. One of the unknowns is just f of 1, and the other unknown is f of minus 1. So in principle, I can solve this system and find f of 1 and f of minus 1. But my goal is to find f of 1, so let me get rid of f of minus 1. And then you have this experience how to solve this system. So for example, I will multiply the first one by 5, the first equation by 5, and I multiply the second equation by minus 2. No, sorry, the other way around. Sorry, the other way around. So I want to get rid of this one, so I will multiply this by I will multiply this by 2. I will multiply this by I will multiply this by negative 2. I will multiply this by 5. Let us see how this goes. This I will get, this first equation becomes minus 4 f of 1 minus 10 f of minus 1. The right hand side becomes positive 2. If I multiply the second equation by 5, this becomes 10 f of minus 1, then plus 25 f of 1. On the right hand side I will have 15. Then what I do, I start adding these two together, side by side, yes? If I add the left hand side to the left hand side here, what I will get is that, you see, minus 10 f of minus 1 and the positive 10 f of minus 1 are cancelled. But this one is minus 4 f of 1, then I have 25 more of it here. So if I add them, it becomes how much? It becomes 21 f of 1. And on the right hand side, I am adding 2 and 15, so it becomes 17. But I am looking for f of 1, so I will divide everything by 27, both sides by 27, it becomes 17 over, divide by 21, it becomes 17 over 21. And that is the answer that I get. Okay, so hopefully these are the tricks that you need to learn if you want to be a good problem solver in mathematics. So you need to get experience from every problem that you are solving. Okay, hopefully you now realize what we can do for actually the most important part. We want to find the rule of this function. Okay, the idea is the same. So let me start from this equation again, which was given in the problem. So what I would say that this is valid for all choices. So I have 2f of x plus 5f of minus x equals to 1 minus 2x. If this is valid for all possible choices of x, it means that this is also valid if I replace x with minus x. Because if x is a real number, and this is valid for that, minus x is also another real number, but it is mentioned that this is valid for all real numbers, including negative x itself. Okay, so what I do, I would write this is valid as well. I want you to fully understand what I am doing here. I am actually replacing x with minus x. But am I allowed to do that? Yes. Why? Because it is mentioned that this relation is valid for all choices of real numbers for x. Now I am telling that if you say that x is a real number and this is valid for this, then definitely minus x is also a real number, and the same relation should be valid also for negative x. So this allows me to replace x with negative x and trust to this equality that I get in this way. Okay, but then I do some simple algebra here. I would write 2f of minus x, and nobody writes minus x because there is a simpler and better name. It's just x. And then here on the right hand side, minus x times minus 2 is positive 2x, so it becomes 1 plus 2x. And now again what? Again I solve the system. This is the system that I set up. Let me just do it quickly. Yes? And then you see that I have two equations, but I have again two unknowns. One of them is f of x, and the other one is f of minus x. But my goal is to find f of x, so I need to get rid of this extra unknown. And the trick is the same. So I do the same thing exactly. I multiply the first equation by minus 2, the second one by 5. So let us see how this will go. If I multiply the first one by minus 2, it becomes minus 4f of x, minus 10f of minus x. The right hand side I also have to multiply it by minus 2, it becomes minus 2. The second one becomes positive 4x. And the second equation I multiply it by 5, so it becomes 10f of minus x plus 25f of x. On the right hand side I will have 5 plus 10x because I have to multiply the right hand side by 5 as well. But the trick is as before, yes, you see immediately if I add them side by side, then this one and this one are gone, but this one is minus 4f of x. Here I have 25f of x. If I add them, it becomes 21f of x is equal to. Now if I add minus 2 to 5, it becomes positive 3. And if I add this one to that one, it becomes 14x. So let me write 14x first, and then plus 3. But I am looking for f of x, so I divide by 21. So the left hand side becomes f of x. There are two terms to divide on the right hand side. 14 over 21x plus 3 over 21. And then what happens is that f of x, if I simplify, here this by 7 is 2, this by 7 is 3, this by 3 is 1, this by 3 is 7. So it is 2 over 3 plus 1 over 7. So 2 over 3x plus 1 over 7. Okay, so that is the solution to this problem. So we were able to find actually this rule for function. But if you want to test, of course this is not included in the solution to the problem, but if you want to test how we can test that, okay? So let us see that if we have done everything correctly. Let us check this relation for this. Let me make it a little bit smaller. So here I want to check this one. So I will start from the left hand side. Let me change my color. This is not part of the solution. So here I would say the left hand side is equal to 2 times, instead of f of x, I put this expression that I got, it becomes 2/3 x plus 1 over 7 plus 5 times f of minus x. What is the meaning of f of minus x? It means that your input is minus x instead of x. So the function will put minus x instead of x here. So it becomes minus 2/3 of x plus 1 over 7. Let us simplify this expression. I multiply this 2 inside, I multiply this 5 inside. So this becomes 4 over 3x plus 2 over 7 minus 10 over 3x plus 5 over 7. And then what I get is 4 over 3x minus 10 over 3x becomes minus 6 over 3x, which is minus 2x. Yes. And then what I get is 2 over 7 plus 5 over 7 becomes 7 over 7, which is 1. But there is no difference between minus 2x plus 1 or 1 minus 2x. And that is exactly the right hand side. Okay, so that's also a way that you can test that what you got is actually indeed correct. Okay, I will put the link to the PDF file of these notes below this video. I hope that this video was somehow useful for you. Until the next video, be safe and goodbye.